Hare Krishna, Mataji, Prabhuji, Sandal Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining. Today's Japa affirmations. Lavanya would like to read. Is it audible, Prabhuji and Mataji?
Hare Krishna.
Sloga see.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Is it okay now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lavanya.
Yeah, 1 second. If Samyukta Mataji wants to read, you can read Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Mataji is reading every day. You
Yes,
read.
Prabhuji.
Read, no?
I will read, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I organize my life to make japa the most important activity of my day. Be aware of how your lifestyle, attitude, and activities are supporting your chanting. The more you change your lifestyle around the sound vibration of the Maha Mantra, the more your consciousness will change. The more consciousness changes, the more your lifestyle will change. Purified consciousness leads purified lifestyle, and purified lifestyle leads to the purified consciousness. Therefore, it is important to consciously organize your lifestyle to support better chanting of Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So good, no? One of the beautiful affirmation. See, we have to, this is very important. Prioritized. How are we prioritizing is very important. As soon as you wake up in the morning every day, that's it. Take this gold. Not this gold, it's a diamond. See, whatever the valuable jewel in this material world, that is this one. Take up this. See, there is no hard and fast rules. Manam snanam cheyagane paddu. No, just at least you can wash your hands, mouth, just sprinkle on your feet. That's it. Take a big bath immediately as soon as you wake up. That starts at least good consciousness and good samskara in our mind. See, be aware. 3 things: our lifestyle, attitude towards holy names and process, activities that are supporting for our chanting. The more you change your lifestyle around the sound vibration of the Maha Mantra, the more your consciousness will change. Simple. The more your consciousness changes, what happens? The more your lifestyle will change. Purified consciousness leads to purified lifestyle, and purified lifestyle leads to purified consciousness. Both are interrelated. Purified consciousness leads to purified lifestyle. Purified lifestyle leads to purified consciousness. Therefore, it is important to constantly organize your lifestyle to support better chanting of Maha Mantra. See how this Mahatma Prabhu has written this one. Simple. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in the one of the verse, Yuktahara viharasya yukta chetasya karmasu. See how he is getting these ideas. Krishna is inspiring him. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the beautiful verse. Yuktahara viharasya. Let me see that verse. It's very important. Yuktahara.
The regulation of the regulation.
That's the thing, no? Right? See how is with that? 6th chapter, 7th verse. Let me share out quickly. Stop share. Share this one. Yeah. This is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself saying we have to regulate, we have to change our lifestyle, our activities. Yuktahara viharasya yukta chetasya karmasu yukta swapnava budasya yogo bhavati dukkha. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains practicing the yoga system. That is the beauty. So, in connection with this today's japa affirmation, so let us try to implement this principle of regulated life, and prioritized important activity of our day. Okay. Um, See, ultimately, we have to purify ourselves. That is the goal of spiritual life. Right now, our state of consciousness is contaminated with material desires, material hankerings, material motivations. Everything is material. We have to replace with spiritual motives, spiritual hankerings, spiritual desires. So I'm talking to myself. I'm speaking here and nicely. Please pray for me to practice, and one day I'll get the purified consciousness in my dealings of the process and its related activities. Very important one. Thank you so much, Prabhuji and Matajis. Let us begin with Mangalacharana prayer and we will start our readings. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hold on, we are seeing. Yeah. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, entitled as Creation, Chapter 7, The Son of Drona Punished. Text 28. That is now also 28. 28 verse. Yeah, you can start. Mata is Samyukta Mata, you can go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: O Arjuna, only another Brahmastra can counteract this weapon. Since you are expert in the military science, subdue these weapons glare with the power of your own weapon. Purport: for the atomic bombs, there is no counter weapon to neutralize the effects. But by subtle science, the action of a Brahmastra can be counteracted. And those who were expert in the military science in those days could counteract the Brahmastra. The son of Dronacharya did not know the art of counteracting the weapon, and therefore Arjuna was asked to counteract it by the power of his own weapon. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Brahmastra. Who released Brahmastra and who doesn't know how to withdraw? Quickly answer.
Ashwadhama Prabhuji.
Ashwadhama. Dronacharya's son. Yeah. Sandhya Mata, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Sutta Goswami said, hearing this from the personality of Godhead, Arjuna touched water for purification, and after circumambulating Lord Sri Krishna, he cast his...
Is circumambulating means pradakshina. Circumambulating of Tulsi Devi. Yeah. Pradakshina, yes.
He cast his Brahmastra weapon to counteract the other one.
Yeah, Arjuna also released, but he knows how to withdraw. That's the difference. Okay. Lavanya, you can do.
Translation: when the rays of two Brahmastras combined, a great circle of fire, like the disk of the sun, covered all outer space and the whole firmaments of planets. Purport: The heat created by the flash of Brahmastra resembles the fire exhibited in the sun globe at the time of cosmic annihilation. The radiation of atomic energy is very insignificant in comparison to the heat produced by a Brahmastra. The atomic bomb explosion can at most blow up one globe, but the heat produced by the Brahmastra can destroy the whole cosmic situation. The comparison is therefore made to the heat at the time of annihilation.
Yeah. It is going to destroy cosmic manifestation, completely, burns. That much powerful. Yeah. Jan Prabhuji. Raju Prabhu, begin with you. So please read this. Yeah.
Translation. All the population of 3 worlds was scorched by the combined heat of the weapons. Everyone was reminded of Samvartaka fire, which takes place at the time of annihilation. Purport. The 3 worlds are the upper, lower, and intermediate planets of the universe. Although the Brahmastra was released on this earth, the heat produced by the combination of both weapons covered all the universe and all the populations on all the different planets began to feel the heat excessively and compared it to the of Samvartaka fire. No planet, therefore, is without living beings, is less intelligent materialistic men think. Hare Krishna.
That much heat produced all the 3 worlds. Lower planetary systems, upper planetary system, middle planetary systems. 3 worlds are getting so much heat. They think that is it going to burn like that? Yeah, that much powerful. Both Brahmastras, the heat generated from it. Okay. Akincham Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, please.
Give me 1 second. Thus seeing translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, thus seeing the disturbance of the general populace and the imminent destruction of the planets, Arjuna at once retracted both Brahmastra weapons as Lord Sri Krishna desired. But the theory that the modern atomic bomb explosions can annihilate the world is the childish imagination. First of all, the atomic energy is not powerful enough to destroy the world. And secondly, ultimately, it all resets on the supreme will of the Supreme Lord, because without his will or sanction, nothing can be built or destroyed. It is foolish also to think the natural laws are ultimately powerful. Material nature's law works under the direction of the Lord, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord says that natural laws works under his supervision. The world can be destroyed only by the will of the Lord and not by the whims of the tiny politicians. Lord Sri Krishna decided that the weapons released by both Drauni and Arjuna be withdrawn, and it was carried out by Arjuna at once. Similarly, there are many agents of all powerful Lord, and by his will only can one execute what he desires.
Thank you, Akincham Prabhu. So while reading this one, I am remembering one verse. Material nature's law works under the direction of the Lord. Maya Dhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Characharam. So Krishna is going to do everything. He is the director of material nature, all these material worlds. Okay. Aryan Prabhu or Praveen Prabhu, who are there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Praveen Prabhu, yeah, go ahead.
Translation. Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger like 2 red walls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal. Purport. Aswathama mother Kripi was born in the family of Gautama. The significant point in this sloka is that Aswathama was caught and bound up with ropes like an animal. According to Sridhara Swami, Arjuna was obliged to catch this son of a Brahmana like an animal as a part of his duty, dharma. This suggestion by Sridhara Swami is also confirmed in the later statement of Sri Krishna. Aswathama was a bona fide son of Dronacharya and Kripi, but because he had degraded himself to a lower status of life, it was proper to treat him as an animal and not as a Brahmana. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Next, Aryan Prabhu.
Yeah. Aryan Prabhu, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Translation. After binding Ashwathama, Arjuna wanted to take him into the military camp. The personality of Goddess Sri Krishna, looking on with his lotus eyes, spoke to Arjuna in an angry mood. Purport. Both Arjuna and Lord Krishna described here in an angry mood. But Arjuna's eyes were like balls of red copper, whereas the eyes of the Lord were like lotuses. That means that the angry mood of Arjuna and that of the Lord are not on the same level. The Lord is transcendence, and thus he is absolute in any stage. His anger is not like the anger of a conditioned living being within the modes of qualitative material nature. Because he is absolute, both his anger and pleasure are the same. His anger is not exhibited in the three modes of material nature. It is only a sign of his bent of mind towards the cause of his devotee, because that is his transcendental nature. Therefore, even if he is angry, the object of anger is blessed. He is unchanged in all circumstances. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Krishna is there. Actually, Krishna seen these two, but still he didn't get that angry. Okay, so now who else not read? Okay, let me read. Samyukta Mataji, you already read, no? Okay.
Prabhuji, shall I read? Ram.
Oh, Ram Reddy Prabhu. Please, Prabhu. Why not?
Yeah. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Lord Sri Krishna said, "O Arjuna, you should not show mercy by releasing this relative of a Brahmana, Brahma Bandhu, for he has killed innocent boys in their sleep." Purport. The word Brahma Bandhu is significant. A person who happens to take birth in the family of a Brahmana but is not qualified to be called a Brahmana is addressed as the relative of a Brahmana and not as a Brahmana. The son of a high court judge is not virtually a high court judge, but there is no harm in addressing a high court judge's son as a relative of the honorable justice. Therefore, as by birth only one does not become a high court judge, so also one does not become a Brahmana simply by birthright, but by acquiring the necessary qualifications of a Brahmana. As the high court judgeship is a post for the qualified man, so also the post of Brahmana is attainable by qualification only. The Shastra enjoins that if good qualifications are seen in a person born in a family other than that of a Brahmana, the qualified man has to be accepted as a Brahmana. And similarly, if a person born in the family of a Brahmana is void of Brahminical qualification, then he must be treated as a non-Brahmana, or in better terms, a relative of a Brahmana. Lord Sri Krishna, the supreme authority of all religious principles, the Vedas, has personally pointed out these differences, and he is about to explain the reason for this in the following slokas. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Even though a person born in a Brahmanical family, if he doesn't have Brahmanical qualities, he doesn't have Brahmana. But even a person born in a Chandala, like dog eater or any lower status of life, and he has good qualities of Brahmanical qualities, he is a Brahmana. So it's ultimately the qualities. Okay. Yeah, let me read. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: a person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot. Nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul. Purport. An enemy who does not resist is never killed by a warrior who knows the principles of religion. Formerly, battles were fought on the principles of religion, not for the sake of sense gratification. If the enemy happened to be intoxicated, asleep, etc., above mentioned, he was never to be killed. These are some of the codes of religious war. Formerly, war was never declared by the whims of selfish political leaders. It was carried out on religious principles, free from all vices. Violence carried out on the religious principles is far superior to so-called non-violence. So religious war means in those 18 days, every night they are just like friends, even though they are enemies. They come in their tents. So all those 18 days, but in the battlefield during the day, they are enemies fighting for war. So that's a proper religious war. But this guy Ashwatthama killed while asleep those 5 Pandava's sons. That's not religious. That's non-religious. It has to be punished. Yeah. Samyukta Mata again from Mata is you can read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. A cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of other lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being. Otherwise, he will go down by his own actions. Purport. A life for a life is just punishment for a person who cruelly and shamelessly lives at the cost of another's life. Political morality is to punish a person by a death sentence in order to save a cruel person from going to hell. That a murderer is condemned to a death sentence by the state is good for the culprit, because in his next life he will not have to suffer for his act of murder. Such a death sentence for the murderer is the lowest possible punishment offered to him, and it is said in the Smriti Shastras that men who are punished by the king on the principles of a life for a life are purified of all their sins, so much so that they may be eligible for being promoted to the planets of heaven. According to Manu, the great author of civic codes and religious principles, even the killer of an animal is to be considered a murderer, because animal food is never meant for the civilized man, whose prime duty is to prepare himself for going back to Godhead. He says that in the act of killing an animal, there is a regular conspiracy by the party of sinners, and all of them are liable to be punished as murderers, exactly like a part of a conspirators who kill a human being combinedly. He who gives permission, he who kills the animal, he who sells the slaughtered animal, he who cooks the animal, he who administers distribution of the foodstuff, and at last, he who eats such cooked animal food are all murderers, and all of them are liable to be punished by the laws of nature. No one can create a living being despite all advancement of material science, and therefore no one has the right to kill a living being by one's independent whims. For the animal eaters, the scriptures have sanctioned restricted animal sacrifices only, and such sanctions are there just to restrict the opening of slaughterhouses and not to encourage animal killing. The procedure under which animal sacrifice is allowed in the scriptures is good both for the animal sacrificed and the animal eaters. It is good for the animal in the sense that the sacrificed animal is at once promoted to the human form of life, other being sacrificed at the altar, and the animal eater is saved from grosser types of sins. Eating meat supplied by organized slaughterhouses, which are ghastly phases, are all breeding all kinds of material afflictions to society, country, and the people in general. The material world is itself a place always full of anxieties, and by encouraging animal slaughter, the whole atmosphere becomes polluted more and more by war, pestilence, famine, and many other unwanted calamities. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata. Srila Prabhupada is explaining how this killing happening, and here he's saying, see, this is in italic words. See this font is different. So see that he who gives permission, he who kills the animal, he who sells slaughtered animal, he who cooks the animal, he who administers distribution of the food stuff, and at last who eats. Such cooked animal food are all murderous, and all of them are liable to be punished by the laws of nature. So that's the thing. So how laws of nature works? Sometimes we may put in different, in these different activities. That's why we have to be very careful about, even see that's devotee's nature is even ఒక చీమ కూడా హాని తలపెట్టడానికి ఒకటి ఉంటుంది తెలుగులో. So that's the thing. We have to be very careful about as far as our our consciousness. We have to be very careful about that. That's where these material laws works. See, that's where Prabhupada, that's the beauty of Srila Prabhupada. So he's explaining so nicely here. And specifically the font itself is, italic font. It means it's very, very, very important. Yeah. So we'll go to next verse. We'll read a couple more verses and we'll go to sloka recitation. So Sandhya Mataji, can you?
I have one doubt.
Yeah.
Like suppose if in house we kill like mosquitoes and ants, like I always used to get this doubt, Prabhuji. I don't know. It must be a silly doubt, but how that will be, like to protect us, we can like we use mosquito coils and we use mosquito bats. So is it correct, Prabhuji, or
Yes.
cockroaches and
Yeah.
sorry, Prabhuji, if it is a silly doubt.
Krishna is going to punish. Not like that. But actually, while we inhale and exhale, there are so many germs which are inconceivable. We cannot see, but we are. So how do we understand? So that way, we are not. See, there is one thing, Mata, the intention behind. See, what is also I see in yoga centers. See, these are the normal in every home we see. Cockroaches, flies, ants, and lizards, right? So that's why Prabhupada specifically writes this, Mataji. Cleanliness is godliness. One thing, first thing. See, devotional life means we have to keep our home proper way, so that all this cleanliness. First thing, we have to keep our surroundings so clean. Cleanliness is godliness. So how this comes? See, if you look at the cockroaches, so where they sits in the shelves, which are thrown the food stuff, the groceries, right? So first we have to keep all of our surroundings cleanliness, keep it clean. It won't attract all the entities. So another thing is intention. If you intentionally do this, some kind of sinful activity is there, Mother, definitely there. But we have to pray. So we cannot avoid. See, flies are there now, right? So we have to kill. We kill, and some devotees said, say Hare Krishna Mahamantra, at least that. At least that. See, etla ante మనం ఎట్లా చేయాలన్నమాట, దానికి ఎట్లా అండర్స్టాండ్ చేసుకోవాలంటే
the consciousness, Mataji, like we want to kill it intentionally for our sense gratification. Like you have seen the story of Mrigari, right? Half man, that half killing person, right? The story of Mrigari. He's enjoying half killing. That's his intention. But here we are not enjoying by killing them. We are protecting ourselves, and our intention is not to kill. Yeah. Yes. The consciousness behind it. We have to protect ourselves. Yeah.
Like in villages, they used to kill snakes and all this. I always used to get like, is it the correct way to kill them?
For the protection, we need to kill, but not for sense gratification. Like, ammo, idi kanpichindi, din champali, din harass cheyali ani unte, motive behind that, it will impact. It will give
first
impact.
thing, Mother, flies. అవి ఎందుకు డిస్టర్బ్ చేయాలి మనం? నన్ను డిస్టర్బ్ చేసి నేను డివోటీని నన్ను డిస్టర్బ్ చేసినా అంటే నీకు పనిష్మెంట్ అది కాదు కానీ సింపుల్ జస్ట్ సింపుల్ రీజన్ మాత్రం first
Understood, Prabhu.
that's where I have seen in devotees life also how get rid of these mosquitoes. Yoga Sindham best example, they bought mosquito nets. So clear. So they are their own life, we cannot avoid. Even though while sleeping it comes and hit and go. Sometimes we see in our body so many red dots because flies that mosquitoes come and eat suck some blood. That's a thing. So mosquito nets are there to avoid intention behind Mataji, whatever how you take it, as Lavanya mentioned, consciousness, how are you dealing with it?
I
See, one thing,
understood.
cleanliness, first thing is cleanliness is next to godliness. So
Yes,
if we are keeping cleanliness, Krishna won't send even flies also.
Krishna Prabhuji, can I add, Prabhuji?
Add.
One of the lecture I had regarding the snakes, Mataji asked him, so we normally will kill the snakes and all. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, when actually one time Prabhupada once want to meet Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, he went to his matta. So when he's entering to that, one of the devotees saw the snake. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati also saw. So he's asking them to kill the snake like that. So Prabhupada he went there and he shocked. So why he's telling like that? Why he's asking us to kill like that? So he came and asked Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. So why you're asking us to kill that snake? So if you want to say protect the snake and if you want to feed the snake with milk every day, the nature of the snake is envious. So one day it will definitely it will like. So that's the reason, because we are killing the envious of the nature of the snake. So that's the reason, because to protect ourselves, like whichever the animal, so blood sucking which is harming to us, and we need to kill that property. So
Hare Krishna. Subbarao Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Dhanad Pranam Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu. Raju Prabhu, what you just said is there in Leelamrita. Prabhupada Leelamrita, that whole story is there. But Prabhu, I'll add something else from totally different story.
Yes.
So this is from Rutrasra Charitam, basically, right? You know how Devendra kills Rutrasra. Rutrasra is Asura, basically. There are two aspects here. He kills Asura, and then but Rutrasra is also is a devotee. Okay, so he's also got consciousness, but he's an Asura. But Indra gets the karma of killing the Asura. So then Indra suffers. Basically, he asks, what is the way out of getting out of this suffering? Then they advise him to go into Ashwamedha Yagas. So bottom line is, Prabhu, there are a lot of things you kill with knowing or without knowing. You kill them for protection. That protection is it in a excusable excuse? No, it will also still get karma. The only way to get out of it is service to the God. Only way you have to get out of it is service to the God. Just because you're doing service to the God, does not mean you can go on killing. But the way some of the things that happen without our notice, without our without our explicit interference, we are harming other living creatures that can only come out only by proper service. So that's the only reason. It's not like when you eat plants, you don't get karma. The consciousness is less. The only way to get out of it is by offering and eating, right? That's what we are saying. Like when you eat prasadam, that is okay. If not, it is a sin. Right? In the same way, the creatures, so many microorganisms that you breathe in, breathe out, and they die. Yes, you do. You have to do your prayer for, and you have to counter it, or you have to overcome it by service. That's all. What is that service mean? Service of bringing more souls into God consciousness. That's what Ashwamedha Yaga is all about. So then they say, when you do an Ashwamedha Yaga, this is what Narada and other saints have told Devendra. Then Devendra, that even by not just killing one person, by killing even X number of this thing, even such sins can be overcome by doing an Ashwamedha Yaga, because by doing an Ashwamedha Yaga, you're bringing a lot more people under the protection of Lord. Basically. Hare Krishna. That's what I thought I wanted to add.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. This is the same snake example. Snake shows that hood, that then if, for example, that snake shows that hood and comes towards us, we have to defend anyway. We have to defend ourselves. But snake shows hood for protect ourselves, and it is going away. It is not disturbing us. We don't need to touch that snake to protect herself.
If we have done something even to protect ourselves, that will also carry karma. So, for example, if you look at again the Dronacharya and Drishtadyumna story, Dronacharya full well knows that Drishtadyumna is learning the art from him to kill him. So, has he done anything to protect himself? Has he done anything to protect himself? At that point of time, the dharma takes upper hand over self-protection.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for adding. Raju Prabhu, thank you for sharing that snake example. Very good. Yes. So let us begin with our exercise.
Yesterday, on Prabhuji, he stated that mainly focus on the actually word-to-one meaning, Prabhuji, because if you mug up the translation, Prabhuji, we will definitely forget. He's saying that the Mataji...
Read one line sloka and understand the translation of that line. So
then
you will get very easily.
Because we sung the slokas very nicely, Prabhuji, yesterday. We forgot all the translations. We are unable to remember, Prabhuji. So he's saying that the whoever told that 10 people, around 10 people, they told that everything is correctly, but after 10 days, if I ask them, they cannot say like that. He's saying so we try to focus on the word-to-word meaning and line by line, like Sanskrit meaning of that one. If you read in that way, if you try to, so you'll never forget. Like that is suggesting, Prabhuji, yesterday.
Correct. Okay, Prabhu. But here,
that's what we are learning word to word meaning, Prabhuji. If word to word meaning anne add cheste manaka translation lo vastadi kada, Prabhuji.
Yeah, word to word.
Sloka reciting chesi word to word ఎవరికి వాళ్ళు చూసి చదువుకుంటే బెటర్ ప్రభుజీ.
That's where
ఎవరికి వాళ్ళు ఇంటర్నల్ గా మనం చూసుకోవాలి, ఎందుకంటే మనకి ఇంటర్నల్ గా ఉండేది 10 minutes కదా, కనీసం మనం శ్లోకా చదవడం వస్తుంది మనకి.
ఎవరిది వాళ్ళే చదువుకుంటున్నాం కదా ప్రభుజీ. వర్డ్ టు వర్డ్ చదివితేనే అర్థం అవుతుంది, మళ్ళీ ట్రాన్స్లేషన్ లో ఏ మీనింగ్ ఎక్కడుందో అది అర్థమైపోతుంది,
తెలుస్తుంది. రాజు ప్రభు మనం చూసుకోవాలా ఇట్లా.
That's fair. It is just a practice for include in our group, but word to word we have to read our own selves, Prabhu. Then you would understand. See, look at this translation. It is not exactly matching the word to word meaning. Prabhupada translated such a way we have to understand so clearly. But sometimes if we read this, right, each word to word we read, it's not exact sentence sometimes.
బ్రేక్ వస్తుంది ప్రభుజీ, వాయిస్ కొంచెం వాయిస్ బ్రేక్ వస్తుంది ప్రభుజీ. నాకేనా లేదా ఎవరికైనా? అందరికీ
ఇట్స్ ఓకే ప్రభు, బానే ఉంది.
బానే ఉందా? ఓకే లెట్స్ స్టార్ట్.
See, word to word మీరు చూసుకోవాలి,
మనమే చదువుకోవాలి. వర్డ్ టు వర్డ్
వర్డ్ టు వర్డ్ మీరు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి ప్రభు, చూసుకోవాలి ప్రభుజీ. ఓకేనా? సో అది మీరు ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయాలి అందరూ, యాక్చువల్గా ఇంక్లూడింగ్ మీ, వర్డ్ టు వర్డ్. So we'll see. We'll like this. We'll practice translation and the sloka recitation. And 5 verses. Yesterday we practiced 7th chapter 3 verses, 8th chapter 2 verses. I will do once, and I will over to you. Couple of Prabhujis and couple of Matajis. Then we'll wind up. What is the time? Okay. We'll spend by 9 o'clock. We'll see. 15-20 minutes. Let me recite 7.5. अपरेयम इतस्त्वन्यां प्रकृतिं विद्धि मे परां जीवभूतं महाबाहो येदं धार्यते जगत्. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. 7.14. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mam eva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. 7.19 Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. 8.5 Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yatnasti atra samshayaha. And whoever and at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. 8.16 Abrahma bhuvana arloka punaravartino arjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all our places are misery, wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So, yeah, actually these dates are wrong. Actually, we have 28 and 29, it seems. I'll update anyway. Yeah. Mataji and Prabhuji, anybody likes to, please raise your hand and we'll go through like that. Please raise your hand. Who else likes to recite? Allow anyone to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bhagavad Gita 7.5.
Please
Apareyami
recite.
tatvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yedam dharyate jagat. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entity who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Daivi hesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mamevaye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Translation. This divine energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Bahunam janmanamante jnanam vamma prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita 8.5. Antakale cha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasyasta samshaya. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Bhagavad Gita 8.16. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartinojuna mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Translation. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Prabhuji, any Prabhuji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavad Pranam.
Yeah, please do.
7.5. I'm reading Prabhu. Okay, 7.5. Apremeya mitastanyam prakrutim vidima param jiva bhuta mahabaho yedam dharyate jagat. Translation. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material, inferior nature. 7.14. Devi hashe gunamaya mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. The divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. 7.19. Bahunam janma namante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti mahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who actually in knowledge surrender unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. 8.5. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktya kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nastaitra samshayaha. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me, alone at once attains my nature. Of this, there is no doubt. Hare Krishna.
Good. 8:16.
Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartino Arjuna mama petyutu kaunteya punajanmana vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all the places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attends to my obed, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. I think if you remember these slokas, that is enough for this life, I guess, Prabhuji. If I may understand. This life is saved, or we are past in this life, Prabhuji.
Ultimately,
Such a beautiful slokas they have given.
Two things, Prabhu. Ultimately, we will pass in sloka test of Bhakti Shastri. And if we really understand, I really understand these verses and put into our practice, Krishna is going to pass in this material life and take us to back to your head.
Exactly. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Your now. Mata is or Prabhu is. Your Raju Prabhu lifted hand. Okay, do this, Prabhu.
Bhagavad Gita 7.5.
Right.
Aparayamitasvanyam prakritim vidyame param jivabhutam mahabahu yayodam daryate jagat. Translation. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
Yeah, verse number what chapter? Verse number what chapter?
Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Devi heshya gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mamevayo prapadyante mamametam tarantite. Translation. This divine energy of mind consisting of the three modes of material nature is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross behind it. Bhagavad Gita 7.19. Bahunam janma namante gnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevam sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabam. Translation. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is such a great soul is very rare. Bhagavad Gita 8.5. Antakale cha mameva smaran mukta kalevaram yam prayati samadbhavam yati nastastra samshaya. Translation. And whoever at the end of his life quiets his body remembering me, alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Bhagavad Gita 8.16. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Translation. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Subbarao Prabhu, you want to do? Subbarao Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll try Prabhu.
Yeah, please.
Bhagavad Gita 7.5. Apareya mitastwanyam apareya mitastwanyam prakritam vidhime param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Translation. Besides this, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. Bhagavad Gita 7.14. Daivi hyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. 7.19. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he one who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. 8.5, Bhagavad Gita 8.5. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati sa madbhavam yati nastyatra samsaya. And whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone at once, attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. 8.16. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjuna mamupetyatu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. From the highest planet to the material world, down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Hare Krishna. Probably this is one shloka where he calls Arjuna and Kaunteya twice in the same shloka.
In Prabhu?
In shloka lo, he refers Arjuna as Kaunteya and Arjuna twice is addressing.
Arjuna. Nice.
Not many shloka. I mean, I don't know if I have seen any other shloka where he's addressing twice.
Good catch.
So if he's addressing twice means something more important, basically.
Punaravartino Arjuna, Mamupetyatu Kaunteya. Yes, Kaunteya and Arjuna. Nice, Prabhu. Nice. Yeah. One last. Anybody likes to recite? I see Madhavi Mataji. Madhavi Jawari Mataji. Anyone likes to recite Prabhuji's Mataji's with you and we'll wind up.
Madhavi Mataji, you want to recite Mataji?
Mataji, నేను వంట చేస్తున్నాను Mataji, వినుకుంటా.
Okay, then Akinchan Priya Prabhu will do that.
Okay, Prabhu, I'll just. Aparyeyav itastav alyav prakritim vidim peparam jiva bhuta mahabhavo yayatam dharye jagat. Besides this, O mighty Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. BG 7.14. Daivihi Aisha Gulamayi Mama Maya Duratya Mam Eva Ye Pradayante Mayam Etam Tarantite. This divine energy of mind, consisting of three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. BG 7.19. Bahulam Jalvanamante Gyanam Pradeyatyate Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvam Iti Samatma Sudurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare.
1 second, Prabhu.
BG 7.14.
No, sorry. 8.
BG 8.5. Antakale cha mame vasmaram mukta kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati lasti atra samsaya, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone at once, attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. BG 8.16. A Brahma Bhuvanaloka Pular Avartilo Arjula Bhavupate Yotu Kaunteya Pular Jalbala Vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all the places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you so much for your recitation and reading Srimad Bhagavatam with us. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Reading ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaura Hari Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. See you all tomorrow. Have a happy Krishna conscious Thursday. Hari Bol. Guruvaram.